I think I'm going to take one more question on Franklin Roosevelt and his policies because it's so important and so crucial for this moment, and also because we've had 65 years of slander and attacks on Roosevelt and his policies, including that from that incompetent Amity Shlaes and her work that's being promoted by Fox and the Wall Street Journal and others. So we have a question from a student of international law at Kazakh State University in Almaty, Kazakhstan. And he's obviously someone who studied your writings on FDR and how FDR led the U.S. from the Great Depression in the first half of the 20th century. And as we found the problem of current crisis, which is the power of money issuance in the hands of the Federal Reserve established by international bankers. In view, he asks, of the overwhelming popularity of Franklin Roosevelt and his consistent criticism of the private banking cabal, what hindered Roosevelt from taking back the power of money printing from the bankers where it belonged, which is the U.S. government? Why did he not abolish the Federal Reserve?
You know, why doesn't a general win the war all at once? Really, that's it. I'm not to be cryptic about it. But that's the way it is. You have to think about human beings in terms of your immortality. Now, don't talk to most preachers about immortality. They don't know what it is. It's a rumor they spread to people who don't understand it, nor do they. And they've never been there. They've never come back. We have no reports of immortality from the dead. But we have evidence of the immortality of the dead from the living. In the terms of people who have made a contribution, which is more than just an act, but who have contributed to the advancement of the ability of humanity to exist, who have made peace where there was war, who built construction and prosperity where there's poverty and destruction. Those are the evidences of immortality because they involve the transmission of successive development of ideas and commitment across successive generations. It's a continuing process. There's no point at which a human being who thinks is dead completely. Their body is dead, but they're not dead because the ideas which other people are reliving from them as if they had the same ideas themselves. Those relived ideas are living on as a continuing dialogue and development in generations to come. Everything we've accomplished has always referred to antecedents, human antecedents of accomplishment. To understand what the United States is, you have to understand the mind of Christopher Columbus in 1480 AD when he decided to commit himself to crossing the ocean for the mission specified by Nicholas of Cusa earlier. That's immortality. Is a commitment to the future of mankind, which is made actual through our reliving of the experience of discovery made by predecessors. So the process of discovery, as in physical science or as in great classical art, is not something that just happens by like a dropping of a pigeon. Right? What it is a process of development of an idea, a creative idea, across successive generations. And the dead live in those who come after them in this way. You cannot understand any discovery unless you relive it. And it's somebody else's discovery that you are reliving inside yourself. What's wrong with education today, public education and university education above all? You go to school. Today you get this lesson. At the end of the lesson, you get this test. You pass or you didn't pass. What bun junk is that? Nobody ever becomes a scientist in that way. They become an idiot who babbles what they've been able to memorize, but they don't know what they're talking about. And when you see some of our politicians, you recognize the effect of that. They talk a lot, but they don't say anything because they don't have any ideas. Ideas are always a sense of participation. For example, all my own studies pertain to things that happened thousands of years ago. My understanding of history is reliving in my own mind the ideas that were developing in people up to thousands of years ago. Otherwise, they wouldn't be ideas. That's the difference between an opinion and an idea. The president has opinion, this president, but he has very few ideas. He says words, that's his opinion. He backs up his words, that's his opinion. Where are the ideas? The ideas involve the antecedents and the consequences of the action which those ideas pertain to. That's our problem. And so this is the nature of the thing. Our function in life is not to worry about merely what we accomplish physically in our lifetime. Our function in life is, as FDR saw his own function in this respect as president, to set into motion the process which is necessary as an idea to bring about a future benefit for mankind. Now, the problem with Roosevelt's achievements is not what he accomplished or didn't accomplish. He accomplished a great deal. He set the ideas in place on which it's possible still today, by studying his state of mind, to proceed on what he intended to accomplish, if in a different form than then, but now. It's by reliving his intention as an idea that we're able to accomplish what he intended or had intended. And therefore, what Roosevelt accomplished is making possible the consequences which I am proposing we establish now. The development of Kazakhstan will depend to some degree on the continuation of those ideas in the environment in which Kazakhstan lives today. It's those ideas which will inform the creative powers of the mind of the best young people in Kazakhstan in making their contribution to building what has not yet been built before.